Before we begin, got a very exciting announcement. As you can see on the screen, I have been asked by Colton Herta to help him host a review of each of the IndyCar races in the 2020 season. We're planning on doing this once a week until the season opener in St. Petersburg. I'm very honored that Colton would ask me to do this. It's very exciting and definitely shows you Colton's commitment to getting the IndyCar product out there and consumed by younger people. It'll be a lot of fun too. I think we have some great chemistry and we'll be able to really keep some of these races entertaining if you've seen them before. We will be simulcasting our stream on both DL Live, which is my live streaming channel, and on Colton Herta's personal Twitch channel. Again, this is a really exciting opportunity. I think we're going to be really entertaining and be able to give you guys some great insight into each of the IndyCar races through the 2020 season. So be sure to be there tomorrow, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to watch Texas, the first IndyCar race of the season, with both me and Colton Herta. Now that we got the good news out of the way, it's time to make one of these videos that I'm really getting sick and tired of making, but that just seems to be the world we live in, because there are some serious concerns, not only about the Long Beach Grand Prix, though that is the kind of talk of the day right now within the racing circles, but the larger problem that potentially there may be no professional racing in California in the 2021 season. So this is going to be something that potentially affects not just IndyCar, not just the Long Beach Grand Prix, but IMSA, NASCAR, everybody who is planning on racing in California in 2021. We've also got a few other things to talk about, including one positive news in regards to the Rolex 24 and an exciting entry that we had some details on, but certainly now that those extra details are out there, it's even more exciting. So let's get into it and start talking about all the crap that's happening in racing right now. Okay, maybe it's not all bad news, and this was a story that came out yesterday, but has been hinted at for quite a while, and it's the formation of the Force Indy USF 2000 team. Now, don't let that name fool you. This is a Penske-funded and crewed team with the goal of getting minority drivers and crew members integrated into the IndyCar sphere, into the IndyCar world. And to me, this is fairly exciting. I think it's very easy for corporations to say they're doing something, put out press releases, change their Twitter avatar to a black square, but not really actually put their money where their mouth is. This, to me, appears to be Penske Corporation putting their money where their mouth is and actually actively working to get minority representation in racing through experience and through hard work. And certainly, I think they're giving, Roger Penske and the Penske Corporation is giving the best opportunity they could. These cars, as far as I'm aware, are coming directly out of the Penske shop, so there's really no excuses, and that's exciting to me, because when the next great driver comes through or potentially gets doesn't fall through the cracks because there is this opportunity, I think there could be some really good things to come of it. We'll have to wait and see. There hasn't been a driver officially announced yet, but certainly we will follow up on that when there is one. And more sugar before we get to the spice. Jimmie Johnson will be racing in the Rolex 24. It was confirmed today. Now, we got a ton of details. He will be driving the number 48 Ally Bank Cadillac DPI. The team will be a combination of Action Express Racing along with Hendrick Motorsports, which is very exciting. This is their return to prototype racing, as far as I'm aware, since the GTP days when they ran a Corvette GTP car way back in the 80s and early 90s. The driver lineup is also extremely exciting. Not just Jimmie Johnson, but also Kamui Kobayashi, who was so fast last year in the Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac, Simon Pagenaud, we know how good he is in sports cars, and Mike Rockenfeller of Audi Sport fame. Now, one name that is missing is NASCAR champion Chase Elliott. Now, we are pretty well aware, because of course Rick Hendrick himself confirmed it, that Chase Elliott is going to race in the Rolex 24 next year. We assumed, I think most people did, that he would be with Jimmie Johnson because the names were dropped at the same time, but his absence from this particular announcement is conspicuous to say the least. I'm starting to wonder if he may be added to the Corvette Racing stable in GTLM, whether that would be in one of their current 2 full-time entries or maybe a special third Rolex 24 only entry. They have done third cars before, particularly when they run Sebring with the World Endurance Championship, so it wouldn't be unprecedented. There's also the possibility that maybe he would be a fourth driver for Ganassi. Maybe there's a totally different DPI out there that maybe Chase Elliott could drive. I don't know. I think the Chase Elliott story is going to be very interesting to follow to see where he may end up. But now we got to talk about the Long Beach Grand Prix. Now, there was a tweet from Tony Donahue, and Tony's got some really good sources. For some reason, he gets a bad rap, but honestly, his information is usually really good. And he said, it looks like there's no Long Beach IndyCar race for 2021 on Twitter today. And I was initially, probably shouldn't have been, but I was skeptical of this tweet because I was just like, I haven't heard anything about this. Have I missed something? Well, turns out when I tweeted that, I had a few of my most reliable sources get to me very, very quickly, unsolicited, and said, hey, yeah, there's smoke to this. Long Beach is looking very, very doubtful at this particular time, which is when I started really going, uh-oh, because when we're talking about these sort of things this far out, it's usually not good, as we've come to find out. Nathan Brown of the Indianapolis Star then tweeted this, which says, just spoke with multiple trusted series sources. No decision has been made yet to either postpone or cancel the 2021 Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, which doesn't exactly sound positive. Then we got Adam Stern dropping the Stern bomb, saying that the organizers of Long Beach are planning to hold the IndyCar IMSA event in April, but they have started to look into potential backup plans should the event need to be postponed till later in 2021 because of the coronavirus pandemic, per event president Jim McAlean. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize to Jim if I've completely butchered his name. Now, as I've been talking to people, this is my sense of what things, or where things stand, and it's unfortunately not good, and it affects much more than just the Long Beach Grand Prix. As you may be well aware, Gavin Newsom, who is the governor of California, is very much, I don't want to say anti-sport because I think that's being unfair, but he's definitely on the warpath when it comes to professional sports taking place in California. Particularly, I think you look no further than the San Francisco 49ers having to play outside of the state of California with their particular games. Now, my understanding is that not only are these policies affecting IndyCar in Long Beach, but they are also very seriously affecting the NASCAR Fontana race. That was originally scheduled to be the last race run on the 2-mile oval. My understanding is that now may not happen at all. In fact, based on what my information is right now, every single pro racing series in the state of California is in serious jeopardy of losing their events, period, full stop, in the year 2021. There's a potential that California may not allow any professional racing until 2022. I find that hard to believe, but as we sit right now, we're just at the beginning of December. We're talking about these sort of things. That certainly scares me. Now, I've had it confirmed to me from some of my sources, and obviously Nathan Brown as well, very reliable journalist when it comes to this sort of thing, talking about the fact that there are talks to either postpone or, as Adam Stern reported, their cancellation is on the table right now. My understanding is they are looking at postponing it right now. The problem would be, of course, that they looked at postponing it this year and it didn't end up happening. Now, we saw in St. Petersburg that IndyCar and the city and everybody was able to work together to get that event postponed even when they had already had everything built and had all the trucks there and everything, and do the event later in the year. That, of course, happens when the government is willing to work with you. And right or wrong, and I don't want to go out and say it's wrong that the governor of California feels this way, but it does certainly seem that sports teams, sporting sanctioning bodies are not going to get any help from California next year, or at least at the end of this year, with putting on their events. Likely they will be shut down, at least at the beginning of the year. And that's the thing. Again, the source that told me about NASCAR at Fontana is someone who's connected much more in the world of NASCAR, but at the same time, I completely believe what they said, because of the fact that why are we hearing this sort of thing now rather than much closer? I mean, I think this is something, there's some serious smoke here, and unfortunately, it seems like for the second year in a row, at least Long Beach won't happen on its scheduled date. And that certainly puts me in worry of the event's future itself, because the fact that a street circuit potentially going away for 2 years, especially when it's in the Los Angeles area, and if you give residents of a certain place 2 years to get used to not having that inconvenience of a race, there may be some political pressure to not have the race anymore, simply because it's less of a burden. Some of the positives, I suppose, or some of the things that may save Long Beach, presuming it doesn't happen this year, or next year, I guess it's still 2020, isn't it? Would be the fact that it has a title sponsor with Acura. Obviously, there are lots of series that run there with lots of sponsors and lots of corporate interests, which, of course, there's ways to grease palms in government, and certainly having corporations that are, especially when they're based in California, it helps a lot. At the same time, apparently, NASCAR at least is scrambling for a replacement to Fontana. So that says to me that the issue with Long Beach, this is either going to be, they're going to have to postpone, and if they do cancel, do you replace it with a race? Are we going to race the GP of Indy again? Add another GP of Indy to the schedule. Maybe you could go rent Iowa, but of course there's also the question of, okay, would a replacement event take place in April, or would it take place later on in the year? Then you have the sponsorship considerations. I think there's a minimum amount of events that NTT requires with their title sponsorship of the series. Unfortunately, we're right back to some of the things that we dealt with in 2020, where so much of this seems like it's a complete mess. Nobody really has any idea what's going on, and unfortunately, I will give California at least this credit. There were some states, Indiana, which pulled the rug out from under IndyCar really, really late. At the very least, there seems to be some serious warning here, and they're giving IndyCar the time to at least plan accordingly to be able to get this event either moved, postponed, or changed entirely. But it definitely sucks, man. Long Beach is the second biggest race in IndyCar, and the fact that it potentially may not happen for 2 years in a row, it's a gut punch. It really, really is. It sucks for IMSA too. That's one of their big events, believe it or not. It's big for everybody who gets to run at Long Beach. So just very, very disappointing that this is even a discussion. But that's the world we live in. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe not only to this channel, but also to DL Live, because remember, we will be going live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern with Colton Herta talking about the Texas race from this year, and then we'll be doing that once a week, looking at all the races from the 2020 season. I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be a fun collaboration. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.